What good is a miter saw if it doesn't have a stand? I suppose you can set it on plywood and sawhorses, and hey, I did that for 10 years, but that's a lot of stuff you gotta have and put together, and hey, it may work for you, it may not. Miter saws today, they come in all shapes and sizes. Some of them have wheels, some of them are that gravity rise, and some have legs like sawhorses that fold out and fold in. Regardless of the configuration, they're designed to basically hold your saw and support the work without riggers, and basically make our life and work easier, more efficient. And we're all about that at Toolbox Bus. While the most versatile saw stands are always custom made and they're beautifully done, those are designed to fit the user's specific work needs and applications, and you're best to make your own if that's what you do or what you need. Personally, I'm interested more in a saw setup that, one, saves space in my trailer, but it's also quickly and easily set up. So my goal is to always find and look for a durable, lightweight stand that is easy to set up, but it's gonna last. And on this search, I started looking at stands, and it got me to look at and check out the Milwaukee miter saw stand. It's their newer one. And this new stand is definitely an improvement over their older miter stand, which is the one that I'm currently using. So I've got a good comparison over the two. Couple of differences. First of all, Milwaukee improved the leg lock lever, and they made it way easier to open and close the folding legs on the stand. The older stand had these red round plastic tabs that you would pull, spring-loaded pins, and you would pull them to unlock the pin and fold the leg. The mechanism often required me to reach with two hands, or it was kind of annoying, and that was the biggest negative to the stand, in my opinion. The new stand utilizes a spring-loaded lever. You just kind of squeeze that lever and it opens the pin out. Very similar to the Dewalt stand, and it unlocks the legs one-handed. So super fast, easy. I like the one-handed thing. Secondly, they improved the miter saw bracket, and that's the bracket that mounts to the saw and clips onto the stand. The old bracket used a clamp and lock mechanism, and that was located on the front. So you had to put the saw on a reach, and it was an awkward kind of configuration. And it was difficult. You had to let go, balance the saw. It was stupid. No more balancing and operating the clamp. The new one uses a spring lever, and it basically allows you to lock the saw in on the front and push down, pressure push down the saw, and it clips into place. And this spring lever also is way faster and easier to release the saw from the stand. You just squeeze the handles and then lift the saw up. Third, they improved the material support ends. They're no longer rollers with that vertical post, support post, that was held in place with kind of a weak thumb screw knob. On the older model, we had problems where we had issues with heavy boards affecting that vertical rod and adjustment, and oftentimes it would sink it down and we'd have to readjust it. The newer design uses a square flat bracket support, and it bears its weight directly onto the saw support arms, which is nice. Still has the knobs, and we'll talk about those knobs, but it allows for a much stronger attachment, and ultimately that's what I wanted to see improved. And lastly, they made it lighter, and they offer a couple of really cool accessories. For instance, there is a carry strap that clips on, and a tabletop that also clips on to improve efficiency of the stand. So from first appearances, they improved the design, and they absolutely cut down on the steps needed to set up and get going, which is huge. So they shaved time off my setup in the morning, which I really like. So we took the Milwaukee miter stand to our job site, see how it worked out in the field in real job site conditions. And the new saw has a total weight of just 31 pounds. So it's equivalent to some other saws on the market. Really nice weight. Resistant at first, I actually found myself using that strap. And what it did is, I could kind of sling it to the rear, and it freed up a hand basically to do something else with, carry my coffee maybe, my tool belt. So we set up, when set up, the strap actually just kind of hangs below. It's out of the way, it's safe. But you could clip it and unclip it and get rid of it if you need to. It has a 500-pound rating, and if you pair these up, they make great sawhorses, or even low staging if you needed to just work on like a first floor window or something. The legs are robust, they're tubular steel, and they lock out against a steel frame. Really nice support. And I liked that Milwaukee used steel in the legs, and they sacrificed weight for that, for strength. So they added more weight to it, but they got the strength they were looking for. Over the years, I've seen sawhorses and miter saw stands damaged. Their legs were damaged by lumber drops and vehicles backing into them and such. So I like that they went with the tubular design, which is a strong design. The top bar of the stand is an aluminum beam, and it has a groove in it that actually accepts a 2x4 stock, 2x stock on edge. And that could be used as a board holder, or maybe a sacrificial board, or maybe you can extend it to hold, you know, setting it for like sawhorses or something like that. As far as the legs, the levers, there are 4 spring-loaded levers, 1 for each leg. These levers operate a pin that is used to lock the legs open, or when folded closed, locked closed for storage. I found the levers easy to use, one-handed, and the pin had excellent alignment, really high tolerance in the metal locking holes, really nice precision. That impressed me a lot about this in the levers, so that clicked for them. The legs basically swing in and out the folded position, super smooth, real smooth action in or out. And again, one-handed, boom, open. You can open and close these legs as fast as you want. There's no sticking points or anything like that. The one-handed operation was sorely needed and key for me and for the crew. We love it. Let me see, the legs. The legs have an ABS plastic end caps to prevent marring on flooring surfaces. Good idea. They all do it. But the problem is, well, first of all, one of those 4 legs also is adjustable. It's got a screw leveling feature basically on, so you can kind of level it out. The problem I find is these caps, they have a fitment that is like a rib style friction fit. And in my experience, all of these caps, all these stands that are on the market, the first thing to fail is the cap. Oftentimes users are taping them back on with electrical tape. So we wanted to see if that was the case with the stand. We loaded a stand, a 10-inch Milwaukee miter saw on it, and we dragged it across the asphalt, back and forth with that weight on it. And we wanted to see how it worked. After several back and forth drags, we did pop off. We dislodged 1 leg cap. Didn't damage it, it just came out. So it easily reinserted by hand, and I tapped it back in. Again, the fitment is tight with a hammer. I'm not sure how Milwaukee could improve on this design, because I do like the end caps that are protected. But it's definitely an area they should look at, or continue to look at, and improve in. And again, I see this across the board on all stands. That's a big failure point. The miter saw has 2 all-metal material support arms that slide out from the main beam, and that's your support extensions. And these support brackets were strong enough to support most of the framing that we were cutting. And I'll explain that. We basically were cutting 2x6 framing, 14 feet long, no deflection. I'm talking about 14 feet hanging off. But we wanted to test the limits of the support arm, so we tried squaring the edges of 2x12 10-footers and 12-footers PT framing. And this lumber that we used was het. It was wet and heavy, and we knew we were pushing the limits. So but basically we knew the design was not designed to support framing lumber that long and putting all that weight on that support arm. So when we did that, we did notice that there was deflection in the arm a little bit. So it's not going to hold up to heavy framing PT lumber. There are material support ends at the ends of these arms that basically they're flat, so you can hold your material on, but they also have flip-up stops, and I like that because it allows you to do repetitive cuts and stuff like that. When closed and folded, you can store this thing vertically, which was really nice. I store it with a bungee cord in my trailer, so you're not going to damage rollers or anything sticking out. It stores really nicely. One thing that I want to tell you guys, when I was putting the stand together, there's not a lot of parts to put together, but you got to put these end supports on. There are 0 instructions on how to do that, on how to mount that material support ends. And there was no mention at all. There was no photos. There was nothing to tell you how to insert the little bolt that you have to do in which direction to put these supports on. And after a little fussing around, I finally figured out, I think, and it's working fine. I mean, it'll work either way, but they should cover that. That's ground ball stuff. The saw comes with a mount bracket system, and what I mean by that is it allows you to mount the miter saw, and it secures to the bottom of your saw. It comes with the 4 bolts. This allows you to clip the saw on easily and off the stand. It's universal. It fits on all miter saws. And this new design is way faster than that old lever version that I mentioned earlier in this review. And the levers to release are spring-loaded. They're like a squeeze clamp, and they're on the back of the bracket. Milwaukee placed the levers on the back side by this design because intuitively, the way you carry their saw, they designed this off their saw. You carry their saw by the handles, and as you place it on and push down, intuitively, you simply just reach a few more inches, and you're right there on those levers. So it's a simple reach, and it's intuitive, and it's right there. I will say this, on the miter saw that I received, I encountered an alignment problem on the spring levers. And basically the geometry of the handle, which is almost U-shaped, and it squeezes into a U-shaped receiving channel, it was hitting the bracket housing, the bracket channel. And it was really difficult to get on and off, and I couldn't figure it out until I flipped it over and looked at it. Basically the handle was hitting the channel, and I just bent it out of the way, back out of the way, and I was able to use it. I checked with 2 other crew members who were reviewing different similar stands separately, and they didn't have an issue with this. So, thinking that maybe I had just an oddball issue, I brought it to Milwaukee's attention, and they were already aware of it. They told me that a fix had already been in place, and I probably had received an older version. I did have a second set of brackets, so when I opened those and checked those, they were slightly different. The geometry of the handle was deeper, and they didn't have a problem. So basically what they did is they redesigned that geometry of that U-shape to extend deeper into the metal channel so that there was no chance of it coming out and hitting the end. And it basically alleviated the risk of that occurring again. So that was good. And like I said, a test of replacement brackets and 2 other reviewers, 0 issues since. Because many contractors use their miter saw stands as a workstation, you're placing things down, pencils, cell phones, whatever, calculators, Milwaukee actually designed an optional tabletop accessory surface. Kind of cool, it's small, it's, yay big. When attached, the accessory table basically holds things like tape measures, nails, it's got a little recessed cavity tray, and it sits actually below the plane of the miter saw cut table. But out of the way, and you can actually install it offset so that you can mount your miter saw directly center of the stand if you want, or you could slide it left or right as well. I like that because it allowed us, again, I want to center my saw in the center so that I can utilize my left and right outriggers. The tray has a recessed little area that is good for keeping items like screws and little pencils and things from falling off. I'd love to see Milwaukee magnetize this little recessed tray, keep things from moving around and falling off. Overall, having the tray, I found myself placing my tape on it and all kinds of other items, my glasses. It was excellent. I like the tray, and all the guys like it as well. As far as improvement, we were impressed with the improvements already made to this saw. This is a new and improved version. We'd like to see Milwaukee give the leg end caps another look. I really think there could be some improvement or some innovation there. I don't know how yet, but we're thinking about it. But the biggest improvement to this stand is actually, it could be achieved by improving the locking knobs. All the little knobs on the stand are cheap plastic thumb knobs. And all manufacturers are using them. And it's a shame. It's almost like the weakest link of the stand. And if Milwaukee wants to stand apart from their competitors, they should really consider metal or aluminum thumb knobs. Or better yet, figure out how to use levers on everything. Milwaukee you could use the levers on your outriggers for sure. Other people are doing that already. So that's where I think improvement could be done on this saw. As far as cost, the miter saw stand is going to cost $199. And then if you wanted to look at the tabletop accessory, that's another $25, as well as the carry strap, which again, I was reluctant, but I loved it. That was $15. And then additional brackets, if you've got multiple saws or you want to put different things on it, $25 for brackets. Bottom line is, guys, do I recommend the stand? Yes, I like it. I like it a lot. I currently had the older version of the stand and was actively looking for a replacement because I really didn't like it. It was bulky and I hated the vertical post. In fact, I was looking at the Dewalt miter saw stand, which is a nice stand. This new stand is a definite improvement from Milwaukee, and one that I think is going to just take the place and replace my older design. I like it enough that I think I found my stand, at least until something better comes out. I'm Rob Robillard. Please consider subscribing to our videos. Just click that subscribe button below, and we'll see you at the next tool review. Take care.